What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Project 54 Movement. It's your host, Steve Pedroza. We have a great guest today, my boy John. You want to introduce yourself a bit, man, and tell them who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, sure. My name is Jonathan Vancil. I'm the owner of Vancil Sazon, so I cook Cuban food. I live in San Bernardino. I was kind of born and raised in East LA.
How long you been with Lizzie now?
Oh, man, I hope I get this right.
Put you on the spot, bro.
I'm going to say 6 years now.
Six
6 years
yeah.
we've been married.
Yeah, so his wife and my wife went to high school with each other, and I went to the same high school. I was a a year older than them, but they went to high school together, so that's how we end up, meeting each other. I can't remember the first time I met you exactly. I don't know, was that had to be like at a function or something, right? I'm assuming.
I can't remember, to be honest.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about we always like to talk about your upbringing, mom, dad, all that stuff, Let's take us back a bit, man.
Oh, man. So I'm the oldest of 4 kids. I have 2 younger brothers and a baby sister. The youngest right now, she's 25, a brother who's 35 and another one 36, and I'm 40.
Okay, big 4-0.
Yeah, that's right. So my parents, they're divorced right now. Our upbringing was a little rough. We moved from place to place.
Okay.
I started getting in trouble with the law from a young age, and my mom moved us away from different places, especially from LA to San Bernardino. And I still started getting into trouble, but my outlet was always sports. And so I started playing sports and started to excel at sports just to get away from my, not just upbringing, but just my home life. My home life was so jacked up. I remember a lot of things my father used to do to us. He would actually do a lot of things, and my upbringing, I would have to be the protector of the home. I had to protect my brothers and sisters. I had to grow up at a very young age. And so those are the type of memories that I have. I really have a lot of memories where I don't remember everything. So a lot of just
little black spots, kind of.
Yeah. So
yeah. And that's kind of it's crazy, because I think that's one of the things that even for myself, until I kind of had to go to that space again and kind of process it, where it became more clear. Because it's one of those things you kind of just put away, and you remember bits and pieces as it comes.
That's crazy how that works.
I think everybody with the past, just me, in my opinion, not just because I have a past as well, but I think you come out stronger. You come out stronger. You come out more resilient with things and obstacles that you face. Let's show what type of trouble did you used to get into?
That's crazy.
So we're not gonna.
No, you're good.
Self-incriminate you.
No, you're good like that. So, the moment I turned 18, I ended up getting residential burglary, which is a first strike. Yeah. So I was actually supposed to go to prison for 2 to 6 years because first strike, second strike, third strike. So I went to court. I did 3 years felony probation. And the judge says that if I didn't get in trouble at all, no tickets, not even a ticket, a jaywalking ticket, that I would have the opportunity to come back and, fight the case. And then if I pay all the fines, then they can dismiss it. So I did exactly that. So I did 3 years felony probation. After that, I went back and paid all the fines, applied to get it reduced and dismissed, and it did. Nice. So from a felony, went down to a misdemeanor and fought that, and from a misdemeanor, the case was dismissed.
Nice.
And it's expunged now.
Yeah,
so
nice. That's good. Yeah.
I've been playing rugby for 8 years, and I started to drink a lot, and I started to get a couple DUIs. So I ended up having 2 DUIs, but technically, I guess I should have 3, but they were kind of lenient on me on 1. So 2 DUIs. So I started to follow a path of just, I guess, trying to fit in, trying to find my voice, trying to figure out who I am.
What was your mindset? What was your headspace at that time?
Well, I can look back and say that I didn't think I would have a future. My mindset was a very poverty type of mindset. I didn't think I can accomplish anything in my life. I would have people always speak over me and tell me, "Oh, you have so much potential. You can do this. You can do that." But I didn't believe it because I didn't see it in my life. I didn't
Yeah.
see any of my family really do anything to step out and be successful. So it was definitely a poverty mindset.
You know, fast forward after you got that stuff cleaned up, and then you kind of went back a little bit. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of started drinking, and then you got
Yeah.
DUIs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What, like, you know, I know you talked about trying to fit in and things like that. Was that majority of it, or were you trying to like cover up some things, maybe as
I
far
think
as like,
for myself, I was just trying to find myself. I was trying to figure out who am I as a man. I would play guitar. I would lead worship at churches. So I would try to like find my voice in that, or I would play sports and try to find my voice in that. Try to hang out with a certain crowd, just trying to figure out who I am. But I really didn't understand who I was until I rededicated my life to Christ, and that gave me a sense of purpose in my life, and that's when the shift started to happen.
yeah? And how long has that been?
So I kind of grew up in the church. My mom would always take us to church, but I was one of those kids who I hated Christians. I was forced to go to church. I was the one falling asleep in church, and my mom would be the one pinching me or pulling my ear. So I was that type of kid growing up, but I hated church. I hated everything that had to do with it. I didn't start following Christ really. I would say until after high school is when I started to follow him, but I didn't really give my whole life to him until I was an adult. And I would say until I I would say until I started going to the Way World Outreach when I met my wife.
Got it. What was the shift there?
The shift was, so I ended up losing my job. Lost my job. I parked in the wrong spot, ended up getting my car towed. And then about a month later, I ended up losing my apartment because I had my own place. So I had to move back in. I was 30 years old. Had to move back into my mom's house. And that was like the most embarrassing thing because I haven't been with my mom since pretty much high school. So I ran out of beer. So I was actually walking down to the gas station to go get some more beer. I ended up buying some more, like a 6-pack, and on the way back, I was walking towards my back to home, and something hit me. I looked at my life. I'm 30 years old. I had nothing at this time. I'm a grown man, and I have nothing to show for it. So I ended up calling a friend of mine, Andrew Alcana. He's the owner of Good Company. He goes to my church. He went to high school with me. And I would always see him on Instagram and see how he would live his life. And I wanted something like that. I wanted to be a part of that. So I ended up giving him a call and told him, "Hey, bro, I'm drunk at this time." And I'm calling him. I was like, "Hey, I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of this." So he invited me to the church, and that's when everything switched. And so I ended up going to that church for about a year, not dating, not doing nothing, just focusing on trying to get my life back together. And that's where I met my wife, Lizzie.
Do you think of those times periodically of where you were at and where you're at now?
Yes, I definitely do. I can never forget where I came from, my upbringing. It all led me to the person that I am today. All the trials and tribulations, everything that I've gone through,
Yeah.
definitely made me to the man that I am today.
Yeah.
So I definitely look back at it for sure.
Do you still talk to your dad? Do you still talk to your mom like pretty well?
Yeah, so my mother actually lives with my brother out in Rancho. My dad was homeless living on the streets. So for about, I would say maybe 7, 8 years, he was living on the streets in his car. And so my wife and I would go bring him food time to time in the car. And to this day, he's still health wise not doing well at all. I do talk to my father every once in a while, but we don't have that father-son relationship. It's just more of, I know he's my dad. I respect him as my father, but I'm not calling him, Dad, I need you, or
Yeah.
Dad, can we talk? I love him at a distance, and I think that for myself, that's healthy for me.
As individuals, we always want to be able to provide and serve others, but at the same time, we have to know how much can we really take as people of like, being, for me, my circle, and I talk about it all the time. My circle used to be like this. It was massive. I was a very
Yeah.
popular guy. I was the hard knucklehead everyone wanted to be around with. I was like the guy that, if you're with me, I got your back 100%,
Yeah.
in a good and a bad way, either way. But I was always that guy. So my crowd was there. But then as soon as I started kind of getting in more trouble, I noticed they started going away. So then
Yeah.
I was like, why might as well make my circle smaller, right? So I started making it smaller and smaller and smaller, and do all the way until Justine, my wife, she was pregnant with our first kid, and with my daughter that's 11 now, and that was kind of an eye opener. My circle got smaller and then got smaller, and then taking chances in life, and a lot of times, people say they got your back, but when it's in the worst times, that's when
Yeah.
when people are supporting you. It's funny. It's two things in life, dude. From my opinion, it's when you're in your worst time, you know who your true friends are, and when you're the most, I would say, successful time in your life. For me, like we were talking about earlier, success is, it's not a money thing no more for me.
Yeah.
Before, when I first started my company, it was like a money thing. Like, oh, I hit $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. I was like, it's feels the same. Ain't nothing different. I'm still stressed out. I'm still trying to figure this out. And I really found the true happiness of success is like bringing value to people, and
Amen. That's right.
serving people, for my kids, just people around me. And I took the money out of the equation, and everything just comes.
Yeah.
Like
Amen. Right on.
everything comes from there, dude. And it's crazy. So that my circle got really small. Like my circle is like maybe a handful of people,
Yeah.
and no disrespect towards anybody, but like I ride with certain people for business and different things I do, but like when it comes down to it, it's very tight. It's just
Yeah.
because like I live a different lifestyle, and my lifestyle, I call it fabulous, but it's not like bougie or anything. Like, I call it fabulous because I live differently. I'm gonna go to the extreme. I'm very big on the word passion. I write it every single day in my shower. Like, I write passion every single day. I've been writing for the past 6 months.
That's awesome.
And I write certain words down, and it's because like I think passion is suffering for the better good. And for me, I get to this moment, like I talked about it before, and I always talk about it, is just knowing that like if Jesus did certain things for us, and yes, I don't go to church all the time, but I have a spiritual connection with him, and I just think we are built a certain way
Yeah.
to do and suffer as much as we can, because some people are born that way,
Yeah.
to be able to do that. Because you could either say this for yourself or not, but if there's certain things you've gone through in your life that other people can't.
Yeah.
They're in a way different environment right now. They're either probably no longer alive, they're in prison,
Yeah,
or they're homeless, or they're in a different world, drugs or whatever, right? And I think we're built certain ways because I think we are the ones, as individuals, that are going to be able to pass that on generation after generation. The other day, I had a conversation with somebody, and I wasn't trying to have them believe, but I just kind of put this scenario together.
Yeah.
And they asked me about like, why do I believe, right? And I was like, well, I have faith. Like, I have faith, and it's my connection with it. And I asked them a question. I'm a big thinker, right? So I was like, well, yeah, you have a valid question, but I also have a valid question. And I was like, what if 5 generations from now, okay, say if it was you, John, Steve, 5 generations from now, your great 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 grandkids will just know of your name, maybe, right? Depending on how much impact and value you have,
Yeah.
they'll know your name. They have never seen you. That's 100 years down the road, 200 years down the road, right? Doesn't mean it wasn't real. You're here. I'm standing right in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? But like, you think about it, 200 years from now, like those generationals, they're not gonna know. They're like, was that real? Was that fake? What was it? Why doesn't it any different from thousands of years ago?
Yeah,
Right?
that's good.
You know, and people like, and he looked at me, they're like,
That's a good
I'm like,
point.
you're real,
Yeah.
right? And he goes, yeah, I'm real. I'm like, well, it's the same thing, right? It's just a different scenario, right? A different person.
Yeah.
Now going forward, tell us a little bit something about the little leap that you had
Oh man, that's
this
crazy.
past December.
So I've had my business now for about 2 years. I've been doing it part time for about a year and a half. And I was looking at the numbers. I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing well just part time. But I just couldn't let go of my full time job. I just couldn't do it because I had a mortgage. I have a wife to take care of. I have a house, all the expenses that come with that. So I just couldn't do it. And this year, my word. So every year I give myself a word of the year. So this year my word is faith. So in order for faith to just start out, I had to do something that I've never done before. And even though I was completely scared, doubting myself like crazy, I was like, all right, God, I just got to do this. You got my back. My wife has been telling me to quit my job ever since, we met pretty much. She's been telling me, just quit, just quit, just quit. But, as a man, it's just extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
But I did it. I put my 2-week notice in December, and I was going to start the year. Let's just do it. So I did. And I'm thankful I did. Thankful I did.
How was it when you did it? When you were writing on that paper?
Man,
What was going through your eye?
I was still scared. I even had people at my job saying, "Oh, you'll be back," because everybody who leaves, they come back. And I've seen it. I've been there 9 years. I've seen over and over people will leave the company and they always come back. But it put a fire in me to just say that'll never be me.
Yeah.
I have to make it work. I'm going to make it work. And so it's going into 6 months in, and that's in the past now. I'm super happy.
I never want to leave this earth not tap into my full potential.
Wow.
Right? So years down the road, God forbid something happens, you're laying on that deathbed or whatever. I wish I would have.
Oh,
I wish I
man.
would have did that.
Yes.
Right? You never want to live that life that life. And I know a lot of people talk to older people and they were like, I wish I would have did this. So you know what, man, just try to live it now. Like even
Yeah.
me, people always, not in a bad way, like, dude, like you're so busy. And I was like, you know what? I am busy. Like managing a company. I have other little companies on the side. I'm a full-time dad, like full-time dedicated dad. Like I'm there for my kids.
That's right.
I'm doing everything I can for them, for my wife. And, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I make mistakes
Yeah.
as well. But I think trying to live in the moment, in the present time, because we're never promised tomorrow.
Oh man. That's deep.
Because I said this before, like my biggest fear was being a husband because there's a lot of responsibilities behind that, and 100%. Like I quit my first, I was there for like 15 plus years, and I I already had one kid, and I think my wife was pregnant with the other one.
Oh man.
And I was like, I wasn't happy no more. I felt it. I was going down a different path. I just felt different. Then I went to another, and I made a lot of money, lost a lot of money. I went to another company. I set me up for good stuff, and then I ended up leaving, starting my main company, Triton, in end of 2020. And it's been 4 years, and it's crazy, man. It's
Yeah.
like, every year it gets harder, but the thing is, the problems that you have right now are the same problem that you have months from now, years from now, just higher, just bigger,
Yeah.
because you're going to have more catering, more money, more everything. It's just going to be the same thing. It's just like, oh man,
Yeah.
more money, more, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
man.
More money, more problems. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But what's your goal right now? Like, this is, you've been in business for 2 years already, but this is now you're full throttle.
Full throttle, man. Yeah, just leaped right in. I would say for this year, like I said, my word is faith, and so just by trusting in the process, trusting in myself, believing in that God is going to guide me. One of my goals right now, I'm in the process of getting a food trailer. And so I've had businesses actually reach out to me, warehouses that have reached out to me that want me to bring lunch and stuff. But at the moment, I'm not able to do that until I get that food trailer going, and I'm able to cook a lot more food. So this year I've been working towards that, of getting that food trailer going for this year.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of work luncheons and catering work events. So that's been going really well. I've been doing a lot of backyard events. So my goal is to actually hire a few people this year, at least 2 people to help me with this workload. So
Nice,
that's my
nice.
goal for this year.
That's
Little by little, every year is going to be something,
Yeah.
I'm going to set
Yeah.
some goals for every year.
That's good. How's the lunch truck coming along, or the lunch trailer?
It's good. Right now, I'm actually in the process of, it's the, what is it called? Can't think of what it's called right now. In the process of, it's the final stages.
Oh,
the
underwriting?
closing, underwriting. It's an underwriting right
Okay.
now, and so it's the final closing. So today and tomorrow, it's actually down the street right here, Ampac, right down the street. I'm doing the final paperwork,
Nice.
and then from there it should only be about a week or 2
Oh, nice.
until.
Oh, nice, dude.
So I'm excited, man. Super excited.
Yeah. 2-part question. How's the support from your wife? And then how's the support of the people around you that you either thought that are supporting you?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Or whatever. Like,
Yeah. So my wife has always been telling me to quit my job from the very beginning. She saw that I've always been a very good cook, that I can put things together. I can just taste
Does she
things.
cook? Sorry.
No, she can't. And that's the best. I think that's the best part. So our first couple months of us being married, she cooked one dish for me, one dish. And I don't know, I was coming home from something. It was like 7:00 at night. It was in the crock pot. It was something to do with like mushroom and chicken. But I remember when I opened it up, I don't know, is this stuff floating at the top, Usually people will cook with like chicken broth. I think she just poured water in it or something. I don't know. But I told her, I was like, you know what, babe, I love you, but I got it from here on out. So she's never cooked for me ever since. I'm the one who's always cooked. Yeah. So I think that's...
I wouldn't either, dude. You cook good, dude. Your food's good, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So from that moment, I think we realized, I'm a good cook because my wife can't cook. And so it was like an eye-opener. I'm either going to starve or I just got to get it together. And so that's what happened. Yeah, I got to get it together. But my wife has always been the one that supports me from the very beginning. She's been the one that telling me to quit my 9 to 5, to just that I have it in me, that she'll support me no matter what. So it's always good to have that backbone in the house, the one.
How does that feel?
Oh, dude, to have my like ride or die, knowing that she's gonna be there no matter what, man. It puts a fire in me because I want to give her the best life possible, and. But to your second part to your question, it's crazy, man. So the people that I thought that were the closest, whether it's family or friends, what I want to say that they're the most haters. Haters are gonna hate, but man, I really thought they were gonna be there, but I just get it's just headaches from them,
Yeah.
And then the ones that I didn't think are the ones that are holding us up. I have a really, like you said, a tight group of friends. A lot of them are business owners, but they support my wife and I as a marriage. They support my business as a whole. Mm-hmm. It's good to have that core group. And it's from people that I didn't expect. That's the crazy
it's
part.
always those things, man. And I think it's one of the things too, like, for me, it's so funny. Like the haters, they kind of came and gone. I still get some here and there, but the whole saying is like, you can't make fun of somebody that's going to make fun of themselves.
Yeah,
so like,
that's crazy.
Haters cannot make fun of me or get on me because it doesn't bug me. Like, I'm going to root for you. If you don't like me, I'm going to root for you regardless, bro. I don't have time or energy to waste on negativity at all. 100%.
It's draining, yes.
It's draining as hell. It's super draining,
Super.
dude. So like, I totally get it. And it's kind of crazy, huh?
Man,
Like,
it's draining, bro.
Yeah,
It definitely is.
Like, there was a saying that was told to me a while ago. It's like, it's hard to see people succeed because they come from the same place you come from. You know, there's people that have the same upbringing as me, if not even worse. You know, I don't think, I think everybody, I tell people this, everybody's situation is different because we're all different people. My situation, as my mom being a single mother and having me young and not having a stepdad until I got a little older. But at the same time, getting brought into this world a certain way is kind of, it's an eye opener, and finding out when I'm a little older, like of how I got brought into this world is kind of, it is challenging, but at the same time, I was very destructive, and I don't know if that was the reason why, but just I was very destructive as a young kid. But like understanding that the way I dealt with things is the way I dealt with them, and the way I cope with them now. The way you dealt with it, not my problems weren't worse than yours. But it's your emotions are different than mine, and the way you react to people are different than mine. Same thing when I deal with haters, even people that root for me. It's kind of weird because even people that root for me, like, I still feel negativity sometimes because it's like not genuine, you know, because like, oh yeah, they just want to be by my side because, you know, I'm the guy that's moving the needle right now, you know, type of thing. Like, me, like they don't want to be, what is it, the FOMO? Like, they don't want to feel like they're left out or whatever it is, you know. But how's marriage life, dude?
Marriage is actually really good, man. Like I said, my wife, she supports me. What's pretty cool about our marriage is like we really don't fight that much. You know, we've had our few arguments here and there, but we've never really fought. You know, and I think that's really cool because I have a chill wife. You know, I'm chill as an individual, so it's just, you know, sometimes she'll go do her thing, I'll do my thing, but we're a unit. We have each other's back no matter what, and we have a really good marriage. And even with our youth group, with our church, people look up to us. Students look up to us, you know, so setting that example of what a husband should be, what a wife should be. We go to marriage conferences. We do a lot of things, and I'm very, cool, very blessed to have her.
That's super cool. And then how is it like, because you guys have two different upbringings, kind of.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
You
that's
know?
Crazy, man.
So how does that, like...
Man, that's crazy.
How does that balance out? Because, like, even for me, my wife, we have two, like, even though she had a single mother, but, like, we had two different type of upbringings. Like, her mom was, like, much older and mature than my mom was. And me being a male and just kind of just not caring for anything, you know, it just seems always been a pretty straight edge, like...
Yeah.
You know,
well,
girl.
Definitely two different upbringings, man. I grew up very not having stuff, very poor. I used to steal a lot growing up as well, and I used to steal money to buy food, to buy shoes, things like that. And then from the things that my wife has told me, her mom and dad has been together. They've had their ups and downs, but the dad has always been a provider. They gave them everything that they needed growing up. I used to get made fun of in school because I had holes in my clothes, or my shoes used to talk, and so I would actually start fighting. When kids would try to bully me and my brother, we would end up fighting, and they always wanted to fight the Cuban guys, you know. And so that was my upbringing, and everything was given to her, everything. And so when I met my wife, I actually wasn't into her because I thought she was super conceited. And because she was always on her phone, but she was always taking pictures of actually like ministry or different things for Instagram and Facebook. But I didn't see that. I just saw this conceited girl. And obviously when we started talking, that all changed because, but our upbringing is completely different, bro. Completely different.
Yeah. That's crazy,
but
man.
I think that's what balances us out, you know. If she was exactly like me, I don't think I can whatever date her if she was exactly like me. I need that balance in my life, you know.
100%. And I think like me and Justine is very similar. Like it's funny. Like I think they were friends for a reason because they were kind of similar into like in high school, and I think they might have went to middle school together too. But it was like. My wife being smart, being like educated, and always kind of, you know, just kind of being different, you know, and me just being a knucklehead, like, you know, it was just way different, you know, like when I first dated her, I was 19 years old, you know, and I you know, we've been together 17 years, you know, and it's a blessing, man. Like, you know, like, I think it's one of the things like God puts people in your path for certain reasons, you know. And even now, like just with people in general I meet and male and females, like I just try to do the best I can as a person because, you know what, like you never know, man. They a person in general might not have that person, you know. And I think that's one of the things. And like to pivot on that, like from we're talking about marriages, to like how do you feel like when you how does it make you feel when you talk to like I know you're on the youth ministry, but like to young kids or just other individuals that need words of encouragement or in a bad place, like what do you do? How do you talk to them? Like what's your thing to get them drawn into you?
Well, I always give them examples. So I always tell them that my 20s sucked, bro. Those were like the worst years of my life. My 30s was the best thing, and that's when I met my wife. I always give them this example that when I started dating my wife, we dated for about 2 years, engaged a year, and then we got married. Our first kiss was at the altar. We never kissed. And I always tell the youth I had to do that personally because every relationship that I was in prior to that, I messed it up. I always messed it up, and it always started with kissing. So it got to a point where if I
You know what?
wanted,
I think I remember this
yeah,
somewhat.
our
Yeah,
first kiss was at the altar, dude. That's
yeah.
great. And people
Was
always,
that felt like special?
yeah,
That was
bro, that
pretty
was super
cool.
cool, man. Because
That
I
is
didn't think that
cool.
I can do that, bro. Especially me being a Cuban guy. Oh man, I didn't think I can that was possible.
Yeah.
But I always share that with the kids because the kids don't see examples like that. Teenagers don't see, they're just trying to, hook up or whatever they're
Yeah.
trying to do nowadays, but they don't see examples of a man waiting for his wife,
Yeah.
and even though she wasn't a virgin, I wasn't a virgin, but we decided to do that together and, save ourselves for each other. And those are some of the things that I tell the kids to just try to wait and give them example of what that's like. Just to have open communication, to love each other, to always have each other's backs, and always put God first no matter what, man. For my wife and I, if God wasn't in the picture, we would not be together right now. So for us, that's a big, big deal.
Yeah, definitely, man. That is cool. Like, you know what? And it's what I like about that. It's different. You know,
Yeah.
it's different because it's like one of the sayings one of my buddies always talk about, like the weirder you get, the more successful you get, and it
Yeah.
is true because I have gotten pretty weird, man. Like the past so many years, it just the way I talk to people, the way I interact, like it's crazy. Like a lot of people don't want to, like I'm a cool guy, but a lot of people don't want to talk to me,
Yeah.
just because I'm always talking about like leveling up, and people are like just they don't want to do that.
No.
They just want to go through the motions.
Yeah.
And for me, man, like if I could level anybody up and I could talk to anybody, especially kids, like me and
Oh
kids,
man.
I think it's because like I was like when I was a kid, I was very destructive. I was
Yeah.
very destructive. Like my thing was like like fighting. I used to like hurting people. Like it was just kind of like like I don't know, it was a thing. Like I took out my aggression on people. Like you want to fight, let's fight, let's go.
Yeah, that's
You know,
crazy.
and I wasn't really into I wasn't into drugs. That wasn't my thing because I was always paranoid already. Growing up in
Yeah.
the hood, I was always paranoid. So I never really did drugs. I drank a little bit here and there, but like for me, I already knew like my mindset was really so violent and so destructive. Like if I did anything else, like dude, it probably would have been off the rails.
Oh
If
man.
I did, I'm assuming. I don't know. I probably smoked weed a handful of times, and that's the only drug I ever tried.
Yeah.
Like, alcohol, I did a little bit, but like, I was ready. Like in my head, I was like, man, I'm ready crazy. Like if I do anything else, I'm
You
gonna
didn't
be.
need to add to
I
that.
didn't add to
Yeah.
it, So like, I always talk to kids. They're like, the other day, and I talked about it. And I got a little emotional. I don't know if I talked about it on a podcast or just to somebody where I was principal of the day. It was pretty cool. I was principal of the day at a school, and I was in this middle school, and I was talking to these kids, and it was RSP, right? It was like for kids that have bad English and bad speech impediments and all that. I had the same thing when I was a kid. I was in
Me
that same
too.
class,
Me
man.
too.
And it was crazy because they're like, no, you weren't. They're like, I was like, yeah, I was. So I had a suit on. I took out my jacket and I wrote on my sleeves. I had tattoos. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, I was one of you kids, man. The exact
That's
same kid,
awesome,
bro.
man.
And it's cool because they see me. They're like, what? And I even talked to some of the knuckleheads I see all the time, and they're just like looking at me. Like even today, like my daughter, we had yeah, my daughter graduates next week from sixth grade, and we had a parents versus students softball thing. And there's some little knuckleheads that are our kids, but they're always like, "Hey, that's Elena's dad," and blah blah blah. Like they know I'm normal, but they
Yeah.
know I'm normal, but I have a little bit of something, and it doesn't mean that you can't be rough around the edges and be
Yeah.
someone successful because I could tell you right now, like it's that 1% is a little different. I fit in that 1%. If you want to talk about money, like I can fit in the 1% of a lot of people, but that's not who I am as an individual.
Yeah.
I'm just different. I love being different
Yeah.
because I could sit in the same room. Like we go to some nice restaurant in Anaheim all the time, me and my family, and I love it. And they treat me different because I am different, and not in a bad way different, but they're like I respect them. I respect the waiters. I
Yeah.
respect the janitors. I respect all them, and it's just because that individual doesn't look like me. He doesn't have tattoos. He's not bald. But if I really wanted to, I probably make twice as much as money as he does. But I don't have to. I don't think about acting a different way just because I'm this
Yeah.
way. And
Good. Yeah.
even with we go to a Dodger game. I'm a big Dodger fan, and it's so funny because one of my clients, I gave him Dodger tickets, and he's Puerto Rican, and he went and he was just like, and I was talking to him, and he's like, man, like Steve, we're like the only like just different people here. I'm like, it's just different. Like we want to break that generational,
Yeah, man, it's big.
like we're trying to always break the generational trauma, 100%, right? But now we have to bring the generational wealth. You know, I want to be known as, great great grandpa Pedroza, late down the road. He's the one that changed our trajectory in life.
I love that.
You know
Love
what I'm
that way
saying?
of thinking. Yes, sir.
Because like you have Rockefellers, you have Kennedys, you have all these well known names, and they started somewhere,
Yeah.
and I want to do the same thing.
Amen.
I don't want to be forgotten about years from now. Regardless, I do have a son, but even if I didn't have a son, my daughters will hold our name to a certain
Oh
level,
yes. Oh yes.
and I think that's a big thing, and that's what kids need to understand. Kids need to understand of the long game, not the short game. Everyone's so focused on the short game, and the short game only gets you so long. Like you got to focus on that long game because you got to enjoy the journey, man.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. 100%.
Like enjoy the journey of you with your business and what you're doing now. Like I think, so to pivot, talking about your business, like you talk about your goal right now, but what's your like, what are you envisioning? Like maybe you haven't wrote it down, but what are you envisioning in the next 5-10 years, man?
I actually have wrote it down.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have?
So
Okay.
yeah. So I'm pretty big on writing visions. Even if I have a dream and I believe it's from God or whatever, I'll write things down. Or if I have a vision of where the company is gonna go, I have pretty big vision. And if it's not, it needs to be big in order to you'd be a God vision type deal.
Sure.
So some of the things that I envision is I want to. It's not Castaways anymore, but it used to be called Castaways in San Bernardino. It's up on that hill.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's another name. Some company came and bought it out, but we've gone up there a few times, had dinner, and I've had friends who've gone up there and had dinner, and just the food is just mediocre. But I just vision myself, man. I want to buy this property and turn it into like just an outdoor Cuban venue where you got live music, live bands, playing every other weekend or every weekend. The smell of Cuban food, people dancing, just the vibe. I see that happening in the next 5 years.
So do you believe? Because it's funny. Because I'm gonna ask you this question. Because I believe this. You believe if you can envision it in your brain, in your mind, that it could happen in real life,
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
right? Like you think for me, I believe that's a vision that our mind, with the power of God, to be able to create that vision. If you could see it,
Yes.
you could definitely create it.
Yes.
That's it for me. Like, I'm so artistic, and I'm like, oh, I could do that. No big deal.
Yeah.
I can envision it in my head right now. And I can go ahead and do it.
And see, and that's where that mindset comes in, because I came from a poverty mindset that I can envision things, but I was like, that's not for me. I'll never reach that. Oh, I can't do that. I never thought I would be a homeowner. I'm a homeowner. Never thought I'd be married. I'm married. Never thought I would graduate college. I graduated with my bachelor's in psychology from Cal Baptist. You know, these are all things that I've done in my 30s where I didn't think I can touch that. You know,
And you did.
That my mindset that had to shift. That's where it came from. You know what I mean? That shift is what happened, and because of that shift, I was able to grab it, and so I see that in 5 years, maybe 6, 7 years, it's obtainable. I can definitely do it, and that's just starting out. You know what I mean? So one location there, and having multiple food trucks. You know, having multiple restaurants, just bringing my grandfather's Cuban food, you know, out here.
And then, like, to talk about that a little bit, like, you learn all the recipes. Do you create your own recipes,
Yes,
or
sir.
like, I'm assuming things that passed down that you kind of learned, right?
Yeah. So, do you want me to get into the story of that?
Yeah,
or
you
a
can
little
talk. Yeah,
bit
you can
on
go ahead and
that?
talk about it. Yeah.
So, like I said, so it started with my wife, knowing the fact that she doesn't cook. That's where the inspiration of me cooking. I just had to do it. So, the first couple months, I did a thing called Around the World. So I ended up cooking dishes from around the world, and this is stuff that I would look up and be like, oh, I can cook that, and then I just envisioned it, and I would just taste. I can like taste it in my mouth.
Yeah.
So I would create these different dishes for her. And so I found out that I was actually really good at cooking. So my mom has always been a great cook. My mom has always cooked for the family, cooked for the neighbors. It's just been passed down. So my mom was like, Mijo, I have your grandfather's recipes. And so she gave it to me. For the like 6 months, I studied everything. I started adding my own sazon, started adding my own flavors. And that's where everything came to be. My grandfather, when he was in Cuba, he ended up having a pretty big nightclub out in Cuba, and Celia Cruz and a lot of big artists used to go to his nightclub. It was a nightclub slash restaurant. When the Communist Party came in, they ended up taking 90% of what he owed. So they didn't have anything. You know, they ended up they were, I guess, wealthy, so to speak, in Cuban standards. But when the government came in, they were very, very poor, that they couldn't survive. They couldn't, they weren't allowed to go to the grocery stores that were in that neighborhood because of the business. So the government wouldn't allow them to shop. So they actually had to pay money to friends and family to go to the store for them to bring money, to bring groceries and whatever other things. So my grandfather ended up leaving Cuba and came out to LA and opened up a restaurant. And he ended up saving enough money to go back, grabbed my uncle, my aunts, my mom, cousins, went to go back and grab all of them. And fast forward a couple years, he ended up having 3 very successful restaurants in LA. And so he used to cook for the 1960 and 70 Dodgers. So he used to shut down the store, and all the Dominicans and Cubans used to come to his restaurant, and he would cook for them all. And but when he passed away, no one in my family did anything. They just let everything be. They sold everything and just let it be. So come to find out, it skipped. My mother didn't want to do anything with the business, so it skipped her and came to me. And come to find out that it's like a generational thing that got passed down to me. And so here I am.
That's nice.
Continuing that legacy.
That's where you get the guava meatballs?
The guayaba meatballs, yeah. So
those are legit, bro.
yeah, bro.
Those are freaking fire.
I get people always requesting that, man. Always requesting that.
Yeah, those are super good. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, all the food, dude. When you came, I think the first time I tried your food is
in your backyard.
in my backyard. I don't know
that,
what was that for. Was that for like Mother's Day or something?
I don't even know. But
I know,
it was in
but-
your back. You had, it wasn't. It was just your intermediate
Just my
family.
immediate family. You came to cook for us, and the food was fire, dude. And then you came, like a week or two ago, and you came to
about
cook
a week ago
for the office and stuff like that for one of my coworkers' baby showers, dude. And and the food was delicious, dude.
Oh
But,
man, yeah. I think that's the best part. You know, I love cooking. I love the prepping. You know, sometimes it can be hard, but I love it. It doesn't feel like work to me. But the best part is just seeing the reactions of people. You know, I've had authentic Cubans that were from Cuba come up to me and say that this reminds me of my mom's cooking. You know, stuff like that. I have videos, and
Yeah.
that just breaks me,
That's
man.
legit.
That it can take them
The-
back to a place where they remember.
You know, like, it's so funny you say that. The other day, randomly, dude. And this is gonna sound funny, but you're 100% true because you see the movie Ratatouille.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so my kids were watching it the other day, but you know when they were making the ratatouille at the end, and the taster dude,
The guy eats
bites
it,
and it
all
and
those-
it all
yeah.
goes all the way back. That's exactly, dude.
Yeah.
It reminds me back all the way to your childhood, dude. And it's crazy how food could do that.
Yeah, man.
You
Those
know?
are the best compliments that I receive is people that were
Yeah.
born in Cuba and they try the food and they come up to us and like with tears in their eyes saying, this reminds me of my mom's cooking or my dad's cooking. That's like an ultimate, just like, you know,
It's crazy, and like we're in two different types of businesses, but we could all impact an individual
Oh, man.
on the same platform.
Yes,
if that makes
sir.
sense. Just with food, with services, on what you know, and all those different things. And the soda was fire too. Bro. That was like the ultimate touch.
The Cuban sodas,
The
Cuban drinks.
sodas,
man.
that was legit, dude. But no, man, it was good. You know, I know we could talk for days with a bunch of different things, but I appreciate you coming on,
man.
I
Thank
appreciate
you so much.
chopping it up, man. And, you know, I know we're gonna get the wives on here, do a little like couple
would be
thing.
cool.
That'd be
That'd
cool.
be
Kind
super
of,
cool.
you know, being married to business owners and things like that. But no, man. You know, talk to the camera. Tell them like where they can see you on Instagram or any of that stuff.
Yeah, sounds good.
Social media stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
sounds good. Well, you can just follow us on Instagram, Vancil Sazon. You can see when I do pop-ups. If you're interested in catering or work events, just hit me up, DM us, and hope to hear from you soon.
All right, guys, man, it was a pleasure, John. Thank you, guys. Stay tuned to the next episode of Project 54 Movement. I'll catch you guys later.